didn't have the political, he was not a political man. He didn't understand politics. He thought the way army was, the way he was ruling was good. It looked good because everything was going well. There was no protest really serious, none at all in fact. So over-insurance, the same clique of people who were ruling got these things, closed minds, and they come out with a plan like that.
Of course, Bhutto came to power only because of this war, because he exploited the sentiments of the people that Ayub Khan, he signed the declaration and he did not sign from the vantage of power, but from the vantage of weakness.
धरती माँ जिसने भी कभी तेरी जानिब मैली नजर करी, तू देखेगी हम उसकी आंखें बाहर नोच के फेंकेंगे।
1965 की जंग में कौम का जज्बा बहुत अच्छा था और लोग जोग जा रहे थे जंग के लिए, स्टूडेंट भी जा रहे थे, लेकिन फौज आगे आगे थी और हौसला अफजाई कर रहे थे स्टूडेंट वगैरह।
I did not like Ayub Khan at all, but then I offered my services to go to the front. And then I got a letter from General Musa that thanking me for my offer to go and fight on the front.
During the war, there was a lot of patriotic and nationalistic sentiment which were exploited, during the war by national songs and by national anthem and by rhetoric. And I think it was also very dangerous, when you provoke people to such an extent, and then when the results were not according to their expectation. And this happened in the case of the Tashkent Declaration, that people were very much disappointed because people, they expected they were going to win the war. As a result of the war heroes, for the first time in our textbooks, these war heroes, they were given a prominent place. Otherwise, before, they were politicians, they were literary people, but now the important place was taken by them. The purpose was to create high image of army in the mind of Pakistani people.
During the last days, I think it was on the 10th, he sent back his gold ring, his wedding ring, which he sent back through one of the officers and said that give it to my wife. So he knew that something was going to happen the next day, and on the 11th he died.
What I remember most vividly of the war is that I would go on top of the roof of this house and I could see, I couldn't hear the booming guns, only muffled, but then I could see the sparks and lightning. And I would say, this is the Pakistani gun booming, and on the other side there would be Indian gun booming.
The heart of the problem is just this, that if after 65 an inquiry had been carried out and General Ayub felt it and think that the whole thing had gone wrong, why did it go wrong? Then I think we would have learned a lot of action would have been taken.
Mr. Bhutto was an unhappy man at Tashkent. And I think he was right. If Ayub Khan had taken a little stronger stand, things would have been settled in more in our favor than they were.
But Tashkent was bad for Pakistan, but you had to accept it as a result of your losing or not the war that you managed to. Well, in fact, you had to stop the war because you were not. You couldn't have carried on much longer. The Indians also agreed because they were not performing well. So in a draw like that, they had the upper hand. The president decides on the course. And therefore the buck does stop with him. And therefore, there's no way that General Ayub Khan has not to accept the responsibility for deciding. And he at least had the sensitivity of the second day, of the first day of the war, he realized what a total mistake he had made.
The educated people, they know the reality of the war, they know that it was our fault, they know it was a mistake, and then we should admit it, I think, at this moment. And instead of celebrating it, we should recognize our mistakes. I think this is very important, for nations who would like, to look forward and not behind.
Victory in the sense where the public was first time going to war and they were wanting to do well, and the spirit was very high, and so to some extent the fact that we were able to stop the Indians doing any damage to us was a victory. The country should be proud at least of what its people have done, when the good has been done.